Hello everyone, welcome, Dom here, and today I have something really special to share with you. Today we're checking out the brand new SWAM String Sections. I've talked about SWAM in several of my videos in the past. I had the SWAM solo strings in my top solo string libraries video. If you haven't checked it out, I'm gonna link it right here. But some of you might also remember that I used the SWAM solo strings in my 2-year Netflix recreation video. I'm gonna link it right here because this track had a solo violin and the SWAM instruments were the right instrument for the job because it allowed me the ultimate level of expression for this kind of violin parts. So today I'm very excited to show you the new SWAM sections because this has been one of my biggest requests since the SWAM solo strings came out. I vividly remember meeting one of the members of audio modeling many years ago when I had a synth clinic in London. They were in the audience, so I had great chats with them. They're amazing people, amazing musicians. They really care about what they do. They understand musicians. They talk our language. And since then, I was already asking them about a section of strings instead of just solo strings. Because as you know, I do lots of orchestral writing. I do a lot of film composing. I do a lot of advertising. And for me, having this expression that I had with the solo instruments on a section, this would be a game changer. We have all the sections. We have violins, we have violas, we have cello, and we have double basses as well. I'm going to start with the violins so I can show you what you can do. And for me, the number one thing that SWAM excel at is phrasing and basically real-time performance without even thinking about controllers, about key switches, about loading a specific set of samples, and so on and so forth. So let's try and play some different things. Phrasing is the most underestimated thing in music these days. Phrasing is number one. You want a string line to sound really realistic, you need phrasing. You want to have a non-mechanical piano part, even if you use MIDI, you need phrasing. That's the number one thing that you learn as a musician if you go to a teacher and they teach you how to play the instrument. When you play a line, by the way, if you know this theme, let me know what it is in the comments down below. So, you know, there's an arc, there's a line. So there's tension and resolution all the time. Now, why is this so important and why is it different with SWAM? SWAM don't use any samples. All these instruments are physical modeling. There's not a single sample in what you hear right here. So that's why you don't have to worry about loading legatos, portamentos. You don't have to worry about having... You know, all these things you do it without even thinking. And I'm not even thinking when I'm playing the SWAM instruments. Full disclosure, this video is kindly sponsored by Audio Modeling, but these are entirely my own opinions. They have no idea what I'm gonna say. They don't have any editorial input in the video. And quite frankly, the instruments speak for themselves. So you'll be the judge of what you can do with these instruments. We had some interviews with the people from Audio Modeling in some NAMM shows, a few years ago. And that was, they asked me to play their brass instruments, and I was blown away because you put these instruments under your fingers and you just play and forget about anything else. You forget that the world exists. So this is what you can do because there are no samples. You're not constrained to the limitation of the samples. The other great thing with an instrument like SWAM is that you can basically play any kind of music genre that you want. So for me, the most difficult thing to replicate with libraries is Baroque music. Let's say I wanted to play and by the way, you can do trills, no problem. I'm going to state the obvious, but you can play incredibly fast with SWAM. You can do portamentos. All these things. Before you start telling me, hey Dom, but all the sample libraries and so on and so forth, my honest opinion, these instruments are not meant to replace sample libraries. So, you're not going to throw away your Spitfire and your orchestral tools and your East-West and your Iconicas and all your libraries. No, this is not the point. This is another tool in your arsenal that allow you to be very, very expressive. My trick all these years have been to layer orchestral libraries with SWAM instruments, the solo ones that existed for a while now. And these can add a new dimension to your mock-ups, to your orchestral arrangements. Let me explain how it works. The first thing you can do is you can change the number of players. So you can go from 4, 5, and 6. Now, I want to say straight away, these are not meant to be a large Hollywood section. But I have to say, after playing with them for a while, you can approximate this kind of sound very, very easily, especially if you have violins play in octaves. So let me show you 4 violins. And let's go for 5. And I want to show you what I'm doing here in order to control this instrument. I'm using just 2 controllers right now, but you can use more than this. So if you check what I'm doing here on my Monogram CC, I have the expression. So this is CC11, and this controls the dynamics. So you can go from like triple piano to triple forte, right? Now, this is my mod wheel. This is CC1, and this arrangement works very, very well for me because now what I can do is I can control my dynamics here, and then I can control the vibrato here. Now, velocity gives me the accents. But the fact that I play staccatos and I play these short notes doesn't mean that I cannot play a legato straight after this. This is the big difference compared to sample libraries. If you have a legato patch on most sample libraries, you can't do these things. If you add, if you use a short note, you will hear the tail, you will hear that something is off, so you need to load a staccato patch or a spiccato patch. But with what I have here, I can do this. Creates sforzados, creates all these amazing, I mean, a real violin player would do this instinctively. And they wouldn't have to think about this. But as composers and as producers, we need to think about key switches, about CC controllers, about making sure we play all the notes correctly and all these things. I have to tell you, for me, this is so liberating because I can say, okay, let's think of a melody. Let's take the Bach aria in G string. See how expressive I can be. This is the closest I can get to playing a real violin because that's one of the instruments I don't know how to play. And this brings a smile to my face. Let me show you what else you can do. So as you can see, expression, vibrato right there. Now, another thing that you can do that's really powerful is that you can change the bow pressure. That means that you can have the bow just touch the string, or you can have pressure and then you go from, let's say, flautando to scratch. If you want to play some gypsy music, you definitely want the scratch. And then if I go to flautando, right now I haven't assigned this to anything, but if you want to assign something on the SWAM String Sections, what you can do is you click on this MIDI icon right here and the entire instrument is mappable now. So now I can just select bow pressure and now I can hit learn. I just move one of my controllers that I have here. This is CC74 that I use for synths many times. And now we're good to go. So now, as you can see, I have 3 controls assigned. So with just 3 faders, you have so much control. Let me show you. Obviously, you can have different play modes. So if you go to play modes here, you can have bow and pizzicato. If I turn it to pizzicato. Then we have tremolo, we have slow tremolo. And we also have fast tremolo. And one thing that I really like with the SWAM instruments is they're an educational tool as well. Imagine this, if you have a background in orchestration, I have a background in orchestration, I've studied musicology, but most people don't necessarily know how a violin works. How does it work? How does a player do all these things? How do they create all these variations in playing? So what you have here is, first of all, you can see the position on the fingerboard. And one thing that I really like to see is right here, you can see we have alternate fingering. So right now we are in mid position. This is the default, but I can go near the bridge. Now, the closer you are to the bridge, like with the guitar, the sound is a little bit fuller. It has a little bit more body, and you can do all these beautiful, like passionate violin passages. And let me show you one single note. So this is mid position. See, it's right here, near the bridge, and then near the nut and open. And hear the difference, there's no vibrato. Why? Because this is the D string and it's open, so there cannot be any vibrato. So everything is very well thought. It really behaves like a real instrument. Harmonics. And the other thing that you can do is you can also change the polyphony. You can go double or mono. I'll be honest with you, I always keep it in mono because one of the biggest mistakes that you can do in orchestration is if you have strings like violins playing chords. This gives it away straight away that this is not a real orchestra. And I think this approach is the right approach, because what you can do is you have to know that, okay, I have my first violin section, I'm going to give them a line to play. And they can only play one note. They cannot play like 3 notes at once. Maybe you can do divisi, but I would do divisi by loading more of the SWAM instruments. And speaking of loading more SWAM instruments, I want to show you something that's really amazing. So as you can see here, I have the first violins. And one amazing thing that's new in these SWAM string sections is that we have the room and position icon right there. Check it out. So can you see that? What SWAM instruments do is they place all the different sections in the room as they should be. And for me, this is amazing. Why? Because number one, you don't have to do this with panning in your DAW, which sometimes it's not exactly the same. This actually uses an algorithm, so it actually places all the instruments inside the room, and also it applies reverb to the instruments depending on their position. Now, the great thing is you can move the instruments individually like this, and you don't have to do it yourself. When you load more than one instrument, as I have done here, you will see that you have your first violins, your second violins, divisi 2, your violas, your celli, and your double basses. And then you can start changing the absorption material, so you can have medium, high absorption, and low absorption. Now, what this means basically is that the lower the absorption and the absorption materials, the bigger and longer the reverb, because you don't have materials to absorb the reverb and the reflections. So, see? For me, a nice middle ground is the medium absorption materials, and then I changed the room size. So as you can see, we have several room sizes. Check it out, medium, medium 2, and I tend to like large 2. You can change the mic position from close to far. Let me show you something that's really cool. I'm going to load the second violins here as well, and you will see that they're also synchronized. So check this out. See that? This is the first violins. I can see where it is. These are the second violins. And the other great thing that you can do is you can change the divisi individually. So if I go to my second violins, I go to advanced, you will see that I have a divisi anti-phasing option here. And as you can see, this one is on 2, and this one, let's check it out, is on 1. So this way you avoid any phase issues, and these will sound like different sections, which again, it's brilliant. Let's go back to the room, and I'm going to play both of them. I have transposed the second violins 1 octave higher. Let's change the room. Let's go for medium. And see, they update, all the instances update. So this is a much smaller room. Let me go to low absorption one, and I'm going to play. As you can see, they update. Now I've loaded the violas here, so I can play the violas. And see, I can have the violin section open. I can change the room type, and I'm playing the violas. Let's try the cello. Maybe I want to have 5. And the double bass as well. And just for the fun of it, let's play all the sections together in unison. Okay, my friends, before I leave you, I'm going to play a quick arrangement that I've put together. It's a Bach piece. I mean, it cannot get any more popular than this. And I basically read the score and I orchestrated this in real time. I want to say in the comments down below, let me know what you think about the SWAM string sections. Is this something that you would add to your orchestral template? Would you use it standalone? Would you use it in conjunction with other libraries? I'd really like to know your thoughts, and let's geek out in the comments. Okay, let's play.